Welcome to our coverage. It's Australian Men's Mixed Netball Championships live from Nissan Arena. This is the elimination final, qualifying final. Got to get that one right. I just even checked what I'm doing. This is 1 versus 2 in the men's open division. Victoria in the navy blue, New South Wales in the sky blue. My name's Matthew Blomley. Alongside me is Heath Brown. Heath, welcome. I bet you're excited about this match.
Certainly am. I am the definition of Switzerland in this match. I've played in both Guernseys, so I will be excited by the result, actually. I think their round game was certainly a scene setter for this match where it was only a couple of goals.
A very exciting round match it was, and of course this year only playing each other the once in the round matches. And whilst we ponder some thoughts of how this match is going to play out, let's have a listen to our sponsors.
So when I was growing up, obviously loved footy. All my brothers played footy. I've got 5 brothers. They all played sport growing up, and we had a little club called Kelmsford Junior Football Club. Played down there all through my juniors. I got my sense of belonging, I guess, and made my friendships. I just love those memories of playing there. Got me where I am today, so it's it's good to look back on that. Yeah, obviously the Fair Play Vouchers is a great initiative. It allows any kids to play sport, gives the opportunity for them to go down to their local club, get that sense of belonging. Obviously there's a lot of kids in different circumstances out there in the community, so this gives the opportunity for any kid to go out and play, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And we are back. We're not far away from beginning this 1 versus 2 final here from Nissan Arena. Of course, we're coming to you live from Queensland Men's and Mixed Netball Facebook, Queensland Suns there. If you have somehow got it us on another page, well done to you, I must say. And of course, all our results on Play HQ. Many would probably be expecting, based on this tournament, this is likely to be a preview of the grand final. Heath, you've been watching these guys all week, and who have been your standouts, and who do you think is going to have the biggest impact on this game?
Yeah, look, we've been really impressed watching young Jack Vandervelde take up the bib of his Kelpie's captain in pushing Nexip out to goal defence, which it looks like the way they start there. I think that combination is interesting. And then for me, Brodie Roberts, when Victoria needs to turn a match, he can turn it on a dime. So those two for me through the week. What about yourself?
Look, I think there's been some incredible combinations come out, and of course I will give a quick lineup list of that. Victoria, starting goal shooter Cameron Allen, goal attack Brodie Roberts, wing attack Jake Noonan, centre Riley Richardson, wing defence Ronan Pring, goal defence Alistair Punchin, and in the goalkeeper bib is Josh Byron. For the Sky Blue New South Wales, in goal shooter Anton Stahilski, goal attack Eugene Lee, wing attack Liam Forcadia, In centre is Joe Miller. Wing defence, Jack Vandervelde. Goal defence, Dylan Nexip. And goalkeeper, Victor Nikolic. And it's the Sky Blue starting off with the ball. Very familiar combination here with a feed. Eugene Lee and Liam Forcadia. Eugene, having come through the ranks, we're both involved in some of his coaching and the Australian 23 side. Of course, Heath, when you had a dominant 23 side that I was fortunate enough to help out with.
There were quite a few faces on this court. I think you mentioned Lee early. I think when you're in those shooting positions as one of the senior players in this line, you've got to take that responsibility to post. I thought at times in the tournament he's been really proppy on that mid-range shot, but Coach Gaha will really want him to go to post.
Yeah, of course, Coach Maura Gaha once again in one of the Australian coaching positions.
That's right. She will be in charge of 20s.
Yeah, she'd done the 17 unders previously, and of course now being with New South Wales Open quite a number of years. And similarly, her counterpart, Jared Murphy, a smart operator himself. An early one here from Lee now. Punchin just indicating maybe which one was the landed foot. And wanting some options. Noonan and Alum, they've played this combination together plenty of times. This was how they lined up for Victorian 23 and unders a number of years ago.
I think Alum in the round games came on and really changed the front line for Victoria. He obviously earned the start today. Obviously, Coach Jared Murphy has two very strong options at shooter, but I like the start for Bambi because he has opened the game up in the first of the rounds. And
we do call him Bambi, and he has had that nickname for a long time. Partly because of the way he throws around those limbs of his, but make no mistake, he is in full control of what's going on, and that's what can really stifle defenders. Forcadia just unable to pull out deep in the pocket from Miller. A chance here for Victoria, wanting someone to go through. It's wide through Punchin. Richardson wisely back through the middle. He wants a long one, as he often does, but fortunately goes short. Alum reads it to come home. Spends 3 days in the air from Roberts. And the dogged defence of Nexip. Brody Roberts, an early one, really high. Fortunately able to come back with it. Should sink this next one, he does.
You don't want to be giving Brody Roberts two shots. That need to really crash those boards because they won't miss a lot, the Victorians.
And we saw how deadly he can be in that Kelpies lineup in particular in the Trans-Tasman series that occurred earlier in, end of last year, not earlier this year. That's how time flies. And he just had such a beautiful tournament. And what a pleasure he is to watch.
He is, and I think that's why Nexip will be playing against him. I think Gaha will know Nexip will be on every run. If you give Brody space, as you'd know, Matt, he will just exploit you on that baseline, and so she'll be wanting Nexip to tag every move.
That was a curious pass from Lee to Miller, almost bouncing it off his toes. But talking about that space for Brody Roberts, you can know what he's doing and doesn't mean you can stop him.
We saw him yesterday in a match, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Transverse to post in under half a second, it felt like, and he certainly left his defenders spinning.
And it's just the way he seems to glide through. It feels from the sidelines like it's effortless. We know he is actually working really hard. 4 goals to 2 the Victorians' way. Still very early days in this first quarter. Not even 5 minutes gone just yet. Pring, with the penalty on the outside, brings Sahilski into it for a shot. He sinks it.
So Pring has taken a lot of people's eye this week. Obviously, debutant in Opens, starting bib in the big matches at wing defence. Talk to us a little bit about his coming of age in this side.
Well, last year was obviously his first year in this side, but this year he really feels like he's, well, looking at from Victorian perspective, it looks like he's grown so much into his role. He's a lot more controlled. in his passages. He's choosing his moments when to jump and use that athleticism.
So I docked him a year, so he's been in 2.
Yeah, so last year was around, but probably didn't see him quite as much on court there, whereas this year, really earning that position and
just a rangy wing defence like that. That mix of
tenacious
speed
as well.
and aerial ability. Great ball across the circle.
Oh,
Bit of an air ball.
and looked like he was going with a bit of confidence there, Anton Sahilski, but falls short. Not ideal for the Sky Blue. But here come the Navy Blue. And this was a battle that I think Noonan won on their previous occasion. Back in the wing attack position.
Oh, the umpire swings the whistle the way of New South Wales. So interesting call there.
Richardson occasionally gets caught on the edge trying to dig in underneath, which I think might have been the case on that occasion. Bit of a pick your battles moment when you're as fast and as skilled as him. And speaking about skill, Josh Byron able to get a lovely tap. Expect a little bounce pass in. No, goes top to Forcadia. Trademark short shorts of his. I think he's happy with the uniform change, that they've gone even shorter this year.
The vintage, it's almost a heritage look for New South Wales with the short shorts. And
It's given me a bit of Waratahs in Super Rugby vibes, these short shorts. I'm not against it.
shout out to Struddies, who have kitted out a couple of states, actually. I will admit, though, Matt, when the teams came in, Victoria still held the title of best uniform. I'm a fan of what you put out the last 2 years.
We're taking away the ribbon and the sash, and we're
it.
proud of it. But as these couple of years go on, it's good to see some of these upgrades of uniform and what they're starting to look like. Looking fantastic. Nikolic creeps in to jump. Unsure of when the shot was going up. Doesn't quite time it. But Cameron Allen makes no mistake on it. Still nothing in it.
What's interesting, and you can perhaps shed some light on this, I think last night in the Opens games we saw a lot of zones and offline structures. I think both of these sides have started off in a one-on-one line. Victoria renowned for their offline structures. What have you thought of that during the week?
Oh, I think it's across these big weeks. You can't play relentless one-on-one for full 15-minute quarters for as many games as you play. Oh, and just spilling the ball out there, Byron and Richardson thought they heard a whistle. Byron saying, give it to me again.
Play it on.
He's not someone that yells very often on court. He just goes about it. But offline defence just provides you a bit of an opportunity to have a hunt. But it's that relentless one-on-one that can really win and turn matches. You've got to have them both in your arsenal.
I think that's why I've been really impressed by Victoria. They've got a unit that sells itself to the offline structure, but when they've been in one-on-one, they've been just as impressive with some big bodies.
Oh, and the big bodies in there. It's Dahilski comes up with a rebound. Not able to pull it in, Victoria, but Liam Forcadia does. Eugene Lee just waiting for it. They've really just struggled on a few of these shots in a row.
I think that's where I spoke earlier. You can see a shooter's intent as soon as they line up for that shot. When they don't want it as a defender, it just gives you confidence and you know you're getting in their head. And at the moment, I think that's what's going on here.
And of course, those comments come to you from Heath Brown, former Australian defender.
It's about all I had, Manny, trying to get in someone's head.
I was about to say, knew how to get in many a goaler's head. And that was a lot of work for this New South Wales side before that goal. Whilst not getting the turnover, Victoria will be happy with that one. And just too much on that deep ball. I've seen this a lot across the tournament in various teams. When they're giving that ball to pocket, they're just not placing it out in front in the right way. They're placing it straight over the head as opposed to that slight angle. As a wing attack, it's very difficult for you to read the depth of that ball. But New South Wales, they're going to read the depth of this. Fine circle edge, Forcadia, not quite.
I think the other thing about that pocket ball, Matt, when you've got the keepers you've got in this open division who can hunt that outside ball. There's been a few times where I've felt the wing attack driving to pocket or centre has heard footsteps that aren't even there, and I think that's, you know, the modern game and how good athletes are at court coverage. I think it's a risky ball in this division more than anyone globally.
And risky ball for sure, but the other thing is you've got to be willing to take the hit at this level, and that's the problem. Some people hear the footsteps and start to pull out, whereas I always say, give me the ball and let me take the hit, because then that way at least I've got the contact and brought that attention. Because when you're a defender, and especially that wing defence sort of role, you really do try and make them hear the footsteps for a while, and the fly from keeper, they love it when a wing attack or centre can't quite take the ball because they've just given the threat of coming out.
I think where New South Wales really opened the game up during the round games against Vic, it was when they got ball speed happening in that centre circle to topper circle, and I thought Victoria were much more clever at using kind of the width of the court and opening spaces up like Brodie Roberts and Riley Richardson like to do.
And Eugene Lee just getting called for the contact there. It'd been grinding away on the body of Jake Hendricks for quite a while, so as soon as time was called, so was the penalty. Bit too much on that ball though for Cameron Allen. He can take a lot of them. Need this quick transition. They're just slow on reaction, the Vics defensively. Oh,
bit of a step.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a footwork call there. I do have a slight bar in the way of the legs here because I'm not the tallest of blokes. So we'll give the benefit of the doubt there to Betty Zhang.
So these are the ones where you want Lee going confidently to post. They need to be a double threat against this Kelpies defensive outfit. And
happy and confident Anton Stahilski with that one. That's a great turnover ball of the Victorian centre pass there. Just losing a bit of this transition and intensity are the Victorians at the moment. Kind of want to address that.
So with the circle rotation, we see Hedricks in at goal defence now and punching it off the court. It's worked well for Victoria through the week, you agree?
I would say absolutely. Being able to rotate through. Hedricks, I think, also works best as a bit player, where he comes on and gives that impact. And he did that a bit in the last couple of years, where he can give you this amazing 5 minutes. Sometimes the 15 is not his role.
And just as you say that, Matty, he shows you why you are an expert of the game. He pulled off a great intercept there.
Well, I certainly talk a lot about it whilst I'm here. Not sure expert is right comment. And Victor Nikolic there, just getting his foot briefly caught under Brodie Roberts, which is easily done with that split. But absolutely no malice. He is a defender who just plays and plays and plays, and his intent is always clean. And hasn't he come a long way since even his 23 years a couple of years ago?
I think what's interesting about the game plan by New South Wales in that circle, when Roberts is on a mid-range shot, so anything around that super shot line, they seem content to let him have a free shot to double back on Cam. An interesting game plan, because if he gets a hot hand...
Oh, you do not want Brodie Roberts shooting from range regularly, because once he's got his eye in, I think the term literally stopping is difficult. But here we're just over a minute to go. New South Wales had the lead and the possession, 8-7. Miller's bib just not wanting to stay on properly. It's just hanging on by a thread. A thread of Velcro. Byron over the shot.
That's what, when Lee is in flight and takes that circle sweep to post, and an early shot, I think, Matt, is key, because then that over the shot pressure can't come.
Yeah, I would agree. That early shot is absolutely crucial for him. That as soon as he shows hesitation, his shot doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And I think that was a bit of a let-off there. Whilst the long ball was terrific in, if they hadn't caused the penalty, Vic, there is the doubt of the mind.
That was an almost attempted shot. from Roberts. So not as organised at this front end. And meanwhile, a half-court or near half-court bomb does not come off for New South Wales, but they certainly have the Victorians a little rattled in the last 5 minutes of this quarter.
It has not been as clean as they would want, these Victorians. New South Wales having a lot of the action. Roberts will look long.
Beautiful ball.
Oh, that angle was terrific from Roberts. He saw where next hip was going. This one should sink. It hits the front of the ring, goes in. And what a huge first quarter from both these sides. To give us a chance to catch our breath, we'll go to sponsors in a moment. It is New South Wales 10, Victoria 8.
Let me show you how to get it like me, get it like me, cause the best is what I really might be. Let me show you how to get it. You wanna be like this, you wanna be like this.
Getting ready for the second quarter of this qualifying final in the men's open division. It is Victoria and New South Wales. New South Wales a smidge in front at the moment, 10 goals to 8. As you can see, it's not a huge scoring match so far. So defensive are these players. Heath, what a big first quarter. And what would you be doing as messages from the break?
Yeah, look, I think Victoria would be talking about, you know, steady possession in the front line, probably turned over a couple of balls that they weren't happy about. Good turnover there from Victorian defence. And then I think New South Wales would have had similar feedback for the first part of that quarter. So I expect to see better ball possession at the start by both teams.
And expect this defensive pressure to also lift up. You can already see New South Wales trying to take up space and deny the ball for Vic. Going from a bit of spatial defence to then bit of tagging one-on-one. Nice combination of both. We've seen the change. Liam Kiley come on into goal shooter. Immediate impact there. Might as well keep them guessing with the two different tools as an option. Just needs that connection. Miller getting caught on the body. Coming back to the centre third. Look for a hunt here. A casual sweep there from Brodie Roberts.
think you can already see the confidence. We saw this through the week to feed to, is it pronounced Kylie?
Yeah, Liam Kiley.
Kylie.
May look like Killy, but is Kiley.
Kylie. So I just think they have this confidence to let the ball go. We even saw it through the rounds from transverse straight in. So expect to see that ball on the fly.
The execution has certainly got better across the week as well, where they may have been forcing a few early, as Eugene Lee thinks his first of the quarter. They seem to be hitting the target a lot more and knowing exactly what it's like. You can train a combination, but until you truly come up against, well, the rest of the world's best as well, it's hard to know where to place it perfectly. Liam Kiley holds that beautifully.
I think what I like about Kylie, and I saw it earlier in the week, what he knows is he's got feeders who like to turn and quick release. So he's preparing on zero phase some space, so if they turn inside him, that drop ball, the drop space is clearly there for him.
And the drop ball almost of sorts to Sahilski as it drops short. Vanderveld, long way from home hunting, leaves this free drive to Noonan, who waits.
Ooh.
And just getting called for the contact there, Liam Kiley.
I did not see that at all.
No, I
thought
didn't see it myself. It maybe just helped him on his way there, because it looked like from here Victor Nikolic had sent himself already flying at the ball, but maybe just a little nudge made it a bit off balance. Of course, umpire Joel Owen in his 30-something Australian Championships.
You cannot get much past Joel. He's been such a great official of our game and certainly knows how to manage the game in these big situations.
And he had such a good view of it from there. And he's the epitome of neutrality when it comes to games as well. Umpires everyone like it's the first time he's ever seen them. Vanderveld wanting something. It's Miller who finds it. There's a great little battle, Miller and Richardson.
So Miller, obviously the brother of former Sunshine Coast Lightning, Annie Miller, play very similarly, I think. That low to the ground aerial game. I think we've also seen him at wing attack this week and can play there. Interesting to see if he'll be used there.
And I think last year he spent a bit of time at wing defence as well, if my memory serves correctly, which I can't guarantee that it does.
I think that's what makes both of these sides a real force. You've got all their mids can play in all three positions, so great
and
for
you're
their
not losing
coaches.
anything by that rotation either with them. You're not going, I'm going to be putting them in their... If your weakest position is somewhere you've started consistently as well at times. Of course, Riley Richardson started his men's open career as a wing defence.
Good back up there by Kylie. Too much on that from Richardson. So just probably more mistakes than we saw in the round. So I don't think we can blame that on nerves now. We're more than a quarter in. It's just sheer pressure in the one-on-one contest.
And you don't expect the nerves to truly be there on some of these players. You've got Kelpie's experience across the court, and you've got guys who've all been out there before. The exception of the likes of a Liam Kiley, for instance, who his first year in the men's open program. But this entire attack line, in fact, this entire starting seven for New South Wales, all been here and done it before, all been starters before. And Victoria, majority of them as well. This cross-court communication, and I think a timely change for Victoria, and just bringing Jaden Cowling on, a chance for Richardson to just have a little bit of a watch. Sometimes you just need that to find your rhythm again and continue these rotations that they've been running all week.
Look at that great forward pressure through the middle from Victoria. So in a one-on-one structure now.
Forcadia with the step on and the pass around. Sahilski shouldn't miss that one. He doesn't. And I can't believe to say it, it's only their second goal, New South Wales, for the quarter. and we're over 5 minutes in. Just shows how defensive this game is. Their second, Victoria have only scored 4. Tough ball. Eugene Lean expecting a contact, but really he started falling for that before it was even in the contest.
I think it was just a really good read by Punchin, I think it was back there, and backed up by Heddericks.
And we talk up Al Punchin a fair bit, I must say, and deservedly so. But the last, I'd say, 3-4 years, he's gone from just being a good opens defender to a phenomenal opens defender.
I think the main change we've seen in his game is the mobility to tag. I think, you know, when you've got the vessel that he does of a big rig, you can kind of forgive him for being a contest worker and an air worker, but I think the way he works the ground now is super impressive for a big fellow.
He's really become a smart defender as well. Listen to him talk about what's going on out there, and taking on a senior defender role, listen to him talk to our younger defenders across the squad has been fantastic. They've taken a lot out of it, and I think he's learned himself what he needs to do with it. Jake Hedrick's so emotional with everything he does.
He does wear his heart on his sleeve.
And certainly all across his face.
Joey Miller there, great transition D.
He had the front position the whole way. Eugene Lee, almost a play ball. Hedrick's just helped him on his way before it could become that. It is 7 minutes 50 as they're going to towel down.
Tom Hardwick on for Brodie Roberts in the back of the court for Victoria. He's
another one whose game has improved.
And a great impact player. You talked about impact before. I thought in games where Victoria was struggling to put scoreboard pressure on their opposition, we know one thing Tom will do is go to post.
And in some cases, he really kept Brodie Roberts off the court with his impact that he'd brought. Slippery ball there. Stahilski knocks it back out mid-range. Not his range always. Sometimes it is. Not on that occasion. Jaden Cowling, quick change of direction. We used to see him dance a bit in wing attack, but I'm really liking his centre game. That possibly being the exception on when he needs to commit to the drive.
I think I've really seen him grow up as a specialist wing attack and love his game there. I think what I've liked about this week, he plays the centre like a centre, right? Not like a wing attack. He's not playing that short game we're used to seeing him play. He's running beautiful long lines and impressive transition to the centre for me.
So we dare say Carissa Dolwood-esque with a bit of speed. You and I both like to throw back at times.
One of the most graceful middies. So a bit of an expensive feed there. I tell you who I'm impressed with in this New South Wales transition, Jack Vandervelde. Safe as houses. When you watch him, you don't see a lot of speed, but he just seems to be able to ball carry with ease. Great contest work from Heddericks.
And I certainly trust his short ball. The long one I get worried about when he winds up. It's the release point is curious. It's just the one goal in it. Strong, almost take. Got to rip those in. And I think Hardwick was maybe expecting that a call was coming, so didn't chase after it.
One thing I've really enjoyed about the whistle in all the open games is when it's not dirty, when it's just a really good physical contest, body on body in the air, they have let the players play. And
that's what men's open is about, isn't it? That's the men's open game we've both loved playing in the past.
And it's so good to watch, and just a misfeed there.
And then we've seen a change in that goal circle as well for New South Wales. Stephen Bryce coming on. And we're talking about brothers of players who played at top level in Suncorp. Christina Bryce, of course, here with New South Wales in their mixed side. Stephen, a former Australian 23 and under player.
Certainly height not an issue in that family.
Not at all. And it's a good little mix-up, I think, New South Wales, just to keep Victoria on their feet. And around the post, they just sold that for way too long. You could see days ago, Tom Hardwick looked like he was going to give that pass.
Just some panic on the feed there. I think both teams need some ball security from their front half.
And they've got the players that can do it. Both of these sides have such strong attacking players.
I think one of the things that, you know, we've spoken about the Victorian defensive line, Kelpie's defensive line. We haven't spoken a lot about Nikolic, also a Kelpie in his first year last year. But you play into Victor's hands if the ball's in the air and you give it that hang time. If you play the ground, he certainly...
It's harder for him to get down to, isn't it?
Won't work as much or be as effective. So look for Victoria to shorten that game up.
And this is what happened the last time these two teams played each other. Was Nikolic was really a huge part of the game because of where the feed was being placed by the Victorians. Liam Kiley's strong, but you've still got to place it in the right spot to take the arms out of the action. Adam Franz here, his first year in the open side, and it's good to see him being on court in a crucial match like this. Him and Liam Kiley, part of the men's reserve sides Victoria last year, and play in the M-League competition for Altona Falcons together. So it's really combinations that are playing out.
That's what the M-Leagues have been great for. I think most states try and keep not teams fully loaded with opens players, but mix them in. And I think, you know, that's why Victoria in particular just have, I was watching their 23s and 20s, players knocking on the door of opens, the depth created by the quality of M-Leagues around the country just on show this week.
And that's the depth we want to keep building for every state. Get the grassroots, start eliminating a couple of these gaps that are in the system. But there was no gap in that one. Eugene Lee, rather.
If Liam was in shooting, I would have been asking a lot of questions. Can shoot, apparently. Ex-basketballer.
I did start stumbling my words for a moment there. Third game in a row of the day has probably made me lose my mind a little bit. Forcadia here.
There's that pocket ball you spoke about. Opens up nicely.
And we did say about Liam Forcadia there. Yeah, did spend time in goals in his early year of competition, where his first year in New South Wales 20s, if I recall correctly, they threw him around a lot of positions and he played every one of them well. And God, he's been good these last few years.
Yeah, I think we've seen him hit a new level of fitness. If you look at his body shape, he has certainly toned up and runs out games sensationally, already from a good base. But
yeah, fine-tuning a little bit of what was already there. And you could see, if you followed any bit of New South Wales socials, how often these boys were out and about doing the work. And then wanting the quick ball release. You can see that's a clear instruction at the moment, New South Wales. Wanting to be on the end of it. Forcadia not quite circle edge. Wants a reset. Miller just propping about and just pops. And the high ball, Bryce, too much on it for him.
So far that move has probably produced about 4 or 5 errors. Matt, at what point do New South Wales go back to either Stahilski or a small shooting line? Would you be looking at it now?
You've got to start looking at it pretty early on. Unfortunately, you can't allow too long for a lineup to settle if it's not working. And at the moment, I don't necessarily think it's Stephen Bryce not working so much as the feeds have been terribly placed. He doesn't have the elevation of an Anton Stahilski, so don't place it to the elevation. Place it to the hole. He's got the stomach freed, release it to that space. Tom Hardwick released it to some space. Liam Kiley unable to keep it in.
Good attempt by Kiley. Yeah, I think I agree. I think that, I call it the rainbow ball, that peaks at the top and drops into a space for the shooter. I think there's too much push on some of those passes. Great work by Hardwick in defence.
Well, the classic is, if in doubt, drop it on their head. And then if they're holding a clear, push off there. If they're holding a clear T-hole, like that one that unfortunately had to push, you place it just over and you stay in that hole for as long as possible.
So 25 seconds to try and get this back to within a goal before half-time.
That's a much better feed. Forcadia cleans up that one, and you expect him to. Hedricks with the second jump, but the offside. Don't we see that happen far too often? The turn of the foot goes offside.
So calls time.
Yeah, just indicating where to take it. Eugene Lee trying to sneak it in a bit. And, of course, plenty of time for the shot. He
and nails it. That's the confidence. If he can bring that shooting range, and I think like I mentioned earlier in the call, he's a shorter shooter. He needs to get quick release, and when he does, those are the results.
And confident to put it up now. You don't have to rush it as much. We'll go to a quick ad break, 16:15, and join you again shortly.
So when I was growing up, obviously loved footy. All my brothers played footy. I've got 5 brothers. They all played sport growing up, and we had a little club called Kelmsford Junior Football Club. Played down there all through my juniors. I got my sense of belonging, I guess, and made my friendships. I just love those memories of playing there. Got me where I am today, so it's it's good to look back on that. Yeah, obviously the Fair Play Vouchers is a great initiative. It allows any kids to play sport, gives the opportunity for them to go down to their local club, get that sense of belonging. Obviously there's a lot of kids in different circumstances out there in the community, so this gives the opportunity for any kid to go out and play, which is fantastic.
Let me show you how to get it like me, get it like me, cause the best is what I really might be. Let me show you how to get it. You wanna be like this, you wanna be like this. Want this to last for the rest of our lives. Without you there is no tomorrow.
And we're back at this halftime break, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Australian Kelpies coach, reappointed recently for 4 years, I believe, if my memory is correct, Nerida Stewart. Ned, welcome. What are your thoughts on the first half?
I think both teams will be thankful that they had the day off yesterday. The pace is ridiculous, and I think the intensities of national and international quality, which is exactly what we want to see. So I'm really looking forward to the second half.
And speaking of that international quality out there, you've coached a number of these players yourself. Is there anything that you'd be giving them in particular as a way of pushing forward and increasing the lead perhaps, or getting a bit more score on the board?
Look, I think their finish both ends has sort of probably not been the best and not what they're capable of delivering. I think defensively for the VICs, I'd like to see a little bit more angle on their box press at the back end, so that they can test a bit more of through ball. And the New South boys, I think, just need to finish off the feed into their tall, because that's where they're losing it.
And that is the absolute key here, is the feed has been an issue. Who has been your standout for each side, I suppose? It's been a low-scoring match, 16-15 so far. The lead has changed a couple of times, but who do you think's having the most impact?
I think in VICs, I think Al Punchin's doing a great job of the transition once ball's been turned over, so I'm really loving to see that. And I'm actually really enjoying the work from probably both Joe and Liam in attack with the patience to just break through the press and the box at the back from the VICs.
And that is the patience that we're seeing. Nerida, I'm loving your comments and your insights so far. Please join me for another couple of minutes, will you? I know you're nervous about this, but you can bring it for the first little bit of this quarter as Victoria come out leading. Richardson now in the wing attack position. We've seen him more in the centre this tournament, but certainly spent a lot of time in that position. Jaden Cowling remains in the centre though, and Heath and I were talking about that before, how much we enjoy his style of centre. It goes back conventionally. A lot of airtime on that one, not well placed, Brodie Roberts.
It's that placement again, isn't it? Like they really, I think they need to reward their defenders because both teams' defensive units are giving them ball, and it's just that patience and really sort of switching in the moment to make sure that they deliver a quality finish. It's not happening.
And this is the release point that we're seeing. I would argue maybe not the best quality of attack, but certainly a phenomenal quality in defence from both sides. And people are getting a little bit panicked with their release point, maybe.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you have a big, tall unit at the back, you think that that's what you need to deliver to. So a lot of the balls are getting to transverse and they're just sighting and delivering rather than working down to circle edge. I think if they have a little bit more circle edge feed into their talls, we're going to get a little bit more reward.
And reward is what it's about. The team that wins this one, of course, gets rewarded with a bit of a break.
I think the VICs are quite lucky. They've got a lot of depth in their bench. They've been running that all week. A lot of versatility positionally through their midcourt so that they can switch things around a bit. They seem to be running almost like every half of a quarter they're making a rotation. Whereas we sort of look at the New South boys and you've got the same lineup out there pretty much as what they started with. They made a bit of a change in the shooting, but they've gone back to their starting lineup.
And this can be some of the problem. It's a long week. This year, the first year that we're operating on one game a day for these men's open division, and the players I know have certainly appreciated that. And it sees normally a bit more quality netball as opposed to just the team with the most legs, with Eugene Lee just overshooting that one slightly. And body language on that, not as positive you would like.
No, I think they all looked fresh coming into the arena today when I had a little look at them as they walked in. And I think the day off and the actual management of the load, which is much better with the one game this year, has, I think, physically rewarded them. But I think that this is a really tightly contested game, and I think the nerves might be just sinking in a little bit. I don't think it's a physical side of things. I think it's just more of focus and being able to switch in and not make poor decisions.
The physicality overall seems quite smart from the players. They're choosing moments overall quite well. The other thing is, of course, we brought in rolling subs 2 championships ago, and with the international rule change that occurred for the substitutions being able to occur, we opted to stick, well, the states, I should say, opted to stick with rolling subs. And I think that makes a huge difference as well to these players, doesn't it?
Massively, massively. I think, gone are the old days of trying to pull an injury to subbing on and off. It certainly makes the coaches' jobs a hell of a lot easier. But I think it gives a little bit more fluidity to the game, which is really lovely, and it's not stop-start. And at this pace, this is where we see good netball, when you let it run.
And the fluidity is what both these sides need to find a little bit more of in their attack lines. Very stagnant, as we see another bit of loose ball off the knees, but Brodie Roberts stays in and keeps it in. Lovely goal from him.
I mean, third quarter, and it's 18-16.
We spoke about this before
low.
we obviously came back on air. This is a quarter time score, and these have been quarter time scores in men's open finals and games in previous years, and possibly even throughout this tournament. Zahilski fights for that one well. And just look at all this hedging that's going on, fighting for it. Throws the arm back. Eugene Lee, normally so strong, he seems to be playing for a couple of these calls.
Look, I think the other part is that they're getting a little bit lateral with their movement. As they start to fatigue throughout the game, I find they get a little bit wide and they get a bit lateral. And so you can't throw lateral balls over the top of a Al Punchin and a Jake Hedricks. Like, their aerial contest is their strength. So I think they need to really try and redirect back to that short, sharp, angled, you know, triangles off circle style of game that they can sort of pull the defenders apart with.
And those angles are what help create a contact there as well. When you have to change someone's line, if you're both flying back with the ball, it's generally going to be rewarded to who gets some hands on it first. Miller and Richardson having a bit of a battle there.
I think the umpires are doing a good job at just letting the nice, you know, dual contest go and picking up any of the scrappy, you know, undisciplined stuff. But it's making for a really good contested, well, this is what we're seeing in the score, defensive game.
And a nice little breath moment whilst the towel off goes. And
I think they look for those regularly.
oh, you absolutely have to nowadays. Absolutely have to. We have seen a change there for New South Wales. I like this change as well. Nathan Gurmich comes on in goal attack. He is incredible in the air for such a bloke that is so skinny and doesn't look tall, but he actually has a bit of height to him.
He does, and he's very, very fast. So the combination of speed, probably to inject in on someone like Al, is going to be a real challenge for him to cover. And the aerial contest is certainly going to be something that is going to be... Oh, we've got another change from VICs too.
Yeah, keeping that rolling in. Josh Byron, I do love seeing him out of goal defence every now and then. I have mentioned it on the coverage.
Doesn't get out there very often, does he? But, no, it's nice to see him out there.
He loves that fly through the middle and the little underarm glide. Expect to see that soon.
I like the power and the drive out of Vic's defence transition. Like, they go very, very long. It's powerful. It's quick. And the mid-court don't need to come down, like, to assist. They really rely heavily on their defence end. Whereas you look at the comparison with the New South, it's real short, sharp, quick, angled, double plays, re-offers. So it's just completely two different styles of defensive transition to watch, which is lovely.
Do you think a little bit of that is there's formerly been a couple of New Zealand nationals who've lived over here in the New Zealand side, and perhaps their style of play had an influence on a couple of these boys who have been in there for a few years and played with those guys, that short, sharp style, very New Zealand style that they've now got into a little bit of a habit of? Yeah,
I think it's been interesting. Even in the Kelpies program, we've been working really, really hard on offering a really short game, not just that long line running. Additionally in that, we've also, you work really hard on the tagging man-on-man defence in combination with your structured floating style of hunting. And you're seeing it, this Nationals is seeing it out there on court, which is fantastic from all states. It just gives a new dynamic to the game.
Gurmich looking surprisingly tentative on his feet on a couple of those turns. On the first one, I thought maybe he wasn't sure which foot he'd landed on. The second one, though, he did similar. And for a fella that can shoot, can move, perhaps a little bit of nerves in his bank.
I do think that's probably what it is, coming in at a game that's means a lot to both teams, and it's, a couple of points in it. It's a lot of pressure to come on and take the shooting bib on. But you know what, when you make an opens team, no times for nerves.
You've got to get straight into it and shoot straight away, don't you?
Yep.
Next, they've just drawn the contact by the looks of it, just at that good 2 points line.
I'd like to see Victor get a little bit more front position on the body of Liam. I think he's sort of getting caught in behind a little bit, and then if it comes off the body a little bit, and he might get a little bit more access to those high balls coming in.
And Victoria trying to get more circle edge and cleaner feeds, keeping it lower. It has taken Victor Nikolic a little bit out of the game. They're pushing this lead out now. 22-16, we're about halfway through this third quarter. New South Wales trying to find an answer. They're lacking a little bit of punch through. Too much on it from Forgadia.
There's that finish again.
And that's a finish he normally does really well.
Yeah, and I'm wondering whether it's that connection piece between what he's reading from the shooter's hold on the body of the defender and what he's delivering. So it's always that two-way street, isn't it? Like,
and next hip, just given that on a platter, he read that for days. Didn't even need to go near a body to contest that one.
No, he does read the long ball really well.
And he loves a hunt as well.
The Vics are doing a really good job of getting to circle edge a little bit better to feed Liam, which I think will reward them a lot.
Gurmich trying to indicate that maybe his hand was touched a little bit there, but umpire not seeing it and maybe considering it after the release. Getting caught on the sidelines, feeding into Dylan Nexhip. with Josh Byron a chance to go throw in. Patiently back through Noonan.
Interesting, New South have just gone for a new approach down in the shooting circle with the two shorter players. Bit more speed, bit more movement with Eugene Lee coming into goal shooter.
And we have seen Eugene Lee spend time in goal shooter previously, not just this tournament. And it does provide so much speed there. That's something he's known for.
Eugene's very clever too. Like, he can read the play really well. So this is going to give him a little bit more time to work out what he can create and open up the space potentially for Nathan to run it hard into circle.
And I'm interested to see how this combo goes with Hendricks on that goal line in the keeper. Whether he'll be just trying to work him to lose it. Richardson just getting caught off foot. Kylie, little quick give and go. That was a nice little offer as Roberts was providing something on the goal line. Mid-range, sinks it.
It's good on the mid-range too. A little bit of passion there after the shot. Love to see it.
He is up and about after that one. And their bench love it. But those who haven't been watching a lot of the Opens games, Kylie shoots a mid-range one. He is basketball background, and mid-range normally suits that basketball arc.
He's certainly not nervous about taking a long range or mid-range either, which is nice. He's very confident to post.
Now, I said in the last quarter, the first quarter, where there'd only been minimal goals, and then similar to that one. It is 24-16. It's just been the one goal from this New South Wales lineup so far. And we are 10 minutes into the third quarter.
Not enough volume. Oh, another mix-up with Anton coming out to goal attack. They really need to get more ball into post and get more opportunity to start putting some shots up. But I think that the Vic's defence lineup have really lifted up a gear. They're hunting, they're chasing, they want ball. But then they've all had breaks too, so they've had a high rotation, So they've got fresh legs.
Riley Richardson throwing that ball away and then begging for the offside. Just caught up in it for a moment. Now, if anyone watched our stream of the ACT Griffins and Victoria match yesterday, day before, I'm already losing track of days, you saw that effort that was put in for the entire game from Victorians. The Griffins as well, it must be said, who've had a ripper tournament for their first year up. It is that relentless effort. This is partly what I was expecting to potentially happen here with Lee and Hendricks, that Lee will try and keep him occupied and body him out, giving that chance for Stahilski to just find his way and his first goal of the quarter.
I'm interested to see how Josh goes with sort of that tagging style of play on Anton too. He loves a bit of a float and a structure, Josh, to be able to do the work to shut Anton down is going to be interesting.
Looked like slightly late on that contest, Hendricks. I think the eyes had just moved off from the umpire.
Yeah.
It does fall Sky Blue's way, I think deservedly there.
Look, I'm not an umpire and would never pretend to be an umpire. I think they have a very tough job.
And they do a great job at this level as well.
Absolutely.
And our men's open, fiercely contested, strong contest every time. Lee tries to push it in to get the player off, sinks it.
We've had a few, haven't we, in the last since this change has come through?
New South Wales doing what they wanted. And just given a couple of calls have gone against Richardson here, I'd be inclined to maybe just make a quick change just to get his head back in it.
Yeah. I think getting caught up questioning the umpire repeatedly as to what you've done is not going to change the outcome of the actual moment.
And then, as you see, that's resulted in a couple of people maybe being a step behind down the court there. It was kept in Stahilski, and no one from Victoria was there to chase it up. It was only Sky Blue. 3 in a row for them after making the comment that it had been just the one goal in 10 minutes.
I think, see how New South are getting a little bit wide, starting to sort of get a little bit wide on their movement. I think they need to sort of redirect back into, there was a ball at post there that was on, back into their short, sharp stuff. They're just leaning into Victoria's game defensively by doing that.
And that was a good settle there, Richardson.
Yep.
He does like it to use his speed and run that on, but that one he knew it was just a moment to settle, and that's his experience coming out. Has worn the green and gold a couple of times now. Roberts needs to sink this. He does.
Beautiful shot. Had a bit of ice on it. Is that high?
And I think it's the ice that helped it slip through. For a moment there, it looked like it was going to bounce off that left-hand side. 26-19. This is still such a tight game. Noonan is trying to screen off Forcadilla there. They're drawing the offside. Richardson pocket. We're just waiting for a sweep to happen. It doesn't come. Kylie a long way out. Nikolic doing well to try and cause a contact there, and I think it was a good contest. And this little 1-2, we've seen that so many times over the years. Riley Richardson, Brodie Roberts.
They have a good connection, the two of them, don't they?
Oh,
They really know each other's game.
and they've both also improved the vision to look for other players. They spent probably a number of years where they looked a bit too much just for each other, but not anymore.
I think when you've got a target like Liam under the post, you'd have
It's
to
a bit
open
hard
up your
not to
vision.
open eyes to that,
Exactly.
isn't it? And I know that standing behind me, Heath Brown would have loved a few goal defence releases straight in, probably from the back transverse line as well.
Before the days of these defenders.
This has been a fantastic defensive game, and this is what we want to see is Eugene Lee, that long split, those huge calves of his somehow not gliding across the floor.
Such a low score. Like, you would hope that you could average between 15 and 20 a quarter.
And that's a target for most
Yeah,
coaches,
yeah.
right?
And we're heading into the last quarter and haven't even broke 30 for both teams.
Yeah, if you are watching at home as we're nearing the end of this third quarter, that is right. It is near the end of the third quarter. If you've just tuned in, it is a very low-scoring game. So much going on defensively. Victor Nikolic, beautiful shot.
Oh!
Strong hit!
Yeah, that's...
And what has the umpire called here as well? We've seen some players just end up in the contest. I think the umpire's just going to have a little convene just to confirm what actually happened as well, which
Good
I
idea.
don't think is a bad thing
yeah, I think it's a great idea.
because it happens so fast.
I think there's, look, in terms of, I suppose, the game, there's running the line of the ball, knowing when you can actually be in the contest and when it's probably a little bit safer to just let it go.
And they both seem to take the line of the ball there. And I think she may have called this on Jake Noonan. My initial thought was he had taken the line first,
Yeah.
but potentially by the conversation with the umpires, I dare say that they saw Miller maybe get hands on the ball first as well. And
I
with the
think-
new rules, of course, anything that's considered late or hard contest does result in that caution, so it sees Jake Noonan out of play. And I don't think there was any malice from either player. They both wanted
No, I
the
don't
ball.
either. Well, I think it's just that, like we spoke about before, both teams want this. So any loose ball, they're going to chase down aggressively and hard with intent. And that's just what happens. That's the result of something like that. It's just, it was a hard hit.
It was a
Someone
huge,
got hurt.
It was a huge hit, and my God, we've seen a few of those over the years. Let us take a break. It's Victoria 27, New South Wales 20.
for the rest of our lives. Without you, there is no tomorrow. Let me show you how to get it like me, get it like me. Cause the best is what I really might be. Let me show you how to get it. You wanna be like this, you wanna be like this.
And we're back. It's the final quarter here. It is a qualifying final in the men's open division. New South Wales, Victoria. New South Wales with the centre pass in the early start. Welcome back, Heath Brown. What a third quarter that was.
It was nice to have a break and watch some of the action while you and Ned had a chat. I think New South Wales have pretty much tried most of their attacking combinations, and we start this one with another one with the two talls in there.
And similarly, Victoria haven't been afraid to change a couple of their lineup as well. Tom Hardwick returns the court at goal attack. We see Liam Kiley remain in the goal shooter position and target. Good little 1-2 there. Oh, just hesitating was short. Trying to clamp down on the line there. Forcadia gets the first hands. And it was possession that was the call.
So what this change, unfortunate injury to Miller, we hope both players are okay. Noonan obviously looks okay. But what it does for New South Wales, releases Forcadia to centre, where we see him most of the time.
And I love watching him in centre, if I'm not going to lie there. But Eugene Lee back out at wing attack, a position he's not unfamiliar with by any means.
I think, to win this game, they need to get more scoreboard pressure. So not a bad move by coach Moira Gaha to get two big targets.
And she's a very tactical coach, of course. Moira, you've worked alongside her before. What do you think the message she was giving at the break was?
Look, I think she's known for just being a really steady head when crazy things are happening out on court. So I think you said it earlier in the call there, there's experienced Kelpies out there, so you've almost just got to calm them down, get them back to the game plan and get them shooting goals, because I think early in that third quarter there just wasn't any goal attempts or pressure on the Victorian defence.
And that strong hit just before three-quarter time. It does look like it's fired up the sky blue side here, the New South Welshman. Bryce just off foot though. He's back straight into the hole. Josh Byron getting the little tap to force it off Forcadia. His flowing locks just coming out of the hair for a moment there. And Byron wants to drive through. Hendricks has put a lot of pressure there as well. A lot of cross court. That's a tough ball that should have probably been picked up. There's Ronan Pring in the wing defence position now for Victoria as well. Those couple of changes that have occurred, and I think smart idea to rest Miller now and give him a chance to break New South Wales. And similarly, Jake Noonan, you just don't know how bad that hit was. Liam Kiley.
I thought it was, you mentioned it during the call, Kiley really got revved up in the middle of that third quarter. I think it shows how much he wants to impose himself on this match. Certainly had a great contest with Victor Nikolic.
And that was only about halfway through their about 9 or 10 goal run that they had. They got that fight up. It's easy to lose the momentum when you're on a run like that and run through the motions. But when someone gets fired up, it absolutely gets the rest of the team up and about.
I think you also mentioned the bench got behind him. They loved it. And I think that's what Victoria are so good at doing. I saw it in the Queensland under-20 side, I think it was earlier. When you do something great on court and you can feel that momentum and you've got a bench full of screaming men up on their feet, it certainly adds to that momentum.
You just feel that adrenaline starting rushing through your body. Any soreness you may have had just disappears immediately when that happens in these finals, doesn't it? But needing maybe a little bit of adrenaline. A couple of New South Wales boys, they're trying to still fire through. 6 to margin, that is nothing at this level.
A great ball from Forcadia.
He let the ball and his feet really give that work. He is fired up about that as well. And we're seeing a couple of changes also for the VICs. Cameron Allen returns in goal shooter position. Don't mind having a little change there. Brodie Roberts then returns into goal attack, probably just to ensure the settled feet initially. Forcadia wants a 1-2. Stahilski trying to settle his feet and not step, but as a result loses the ball out the sideline.
It's been a theme of this match, hasn't it? When they're trying to build a comeback, they just feel like on that one where they can convert and get the centre pass back, it's gone missing for them.
Yeah, that build of pressure, they just let down. Someone needs to come forward. Ronan Pring with the long lead. That time he then is rewarded. Little short, sharp. Jaden Cowling wants it. The hold from Richardson. Forcadia trying to sell some kind of contact. Next hip, getting caught too much trying to hold Roberts there. One of the times that he wasn't effective on that.
I thought that matchup has been pretty level. At times, Roberts has shown his class and scored that critical goal, but you haven't noticed Roberts as much as you normally would. That was a beautiful contest from Pring.
Firstly, why was that ball given? But secondly, Ronan Pring, how?
That's called a specky in AFL terms.
And he did it so cleanly. He seemed to glide without touching Eugene Lee's back. And then managed to get the call for the landing space contact, but balanced on the ball and didn't go offside. Brodie Roberts is now fired up. And the smile on his face when he's fired up, that's scary.
It is scary. It means he's playing with his prey.
And playing with the prey was that pass. Stephen Bryce held that beautifully in the backspace, allowing for Stahilski, and what a release out front. Just getting trapped a little bit that far side and off the circle. Needs some momentum and movement. Still just the 6 goals. But 2 in a row at the start of this quarter for New South Wales. Much better than certainly the efforts of the last couple of quarters. Brodie Roberts.
I think Victoria will just be keen to convert their own and then chip away at ball in this back half for them. So it's a 7-goal lead. It would be a difficult one to rein in over 8 minutes for New South Wales, but
oh, well gone. And that's Hedrick's game as well, that going back with the flight at an angle.
Tell you what, this is probably the best form we've seen him in this tournament. I thought Coach Jared Murphy has used him as an impact player, but cleverly in this game, because he's had that run of the ball, he's let him do his thing, and I thought he's been one of the best out on court.
And just gets himself a bit worked up about the miss down the other end. Strong take there, Ronan Pring. And we have seen another change in goal defence for New South Wales. Nick Candido or Martin Blundell. Is it Martin Blundell? I should have known that face. Have seen him before.
So it'll be interesting to see if Fresh Legs does. He's unfortunately been given the task to play the world's best goal attack.
I don't care how fresh your legs are against a Brodie Roberts. That's a tough ask. But it looks like maybe it's to set up for a swap for next hip to come out into wing defence. And I'd say to try and suck Richardson in a bit.
Yeah, they certainly do miss him from wing defence in this game. Vanderveld, good. It may also be to release Vanderveld into the middle. But certainly this game is pushing out to 9.
And if you're New South Wales at the moment, obviously you want to win this game still. Like, that's crucial. But how much of it is pushing to win and recognising that it might almost be out of reach or it's going to be tough, and trying to conserve bodies to get through another game?
I think one thing you want to do in any finals game is finish with momentum, even if you're on the wrong side of the scoring board. Great ball.
Oh, and look at them get up and about, the crowd and the bench.
So that's Alum at his best, but yeah, I think Gaha will be wanting them to finish with momentum, even if the scoreboard is on the wrong side for them. But, you know, at the moment, finishing very flat. Both Victoria kind of just letting it loose now, but a little bit messy in that play. But
if Brody Roberts could have pulled that one in two hands, perhaps, it would have been that little bit cleaner. Stephen Bryce needs to turn and shoot that. He can shoot that from that range. I've seen him shoot from much longer.
I think the Victorian defence, the quality that they have, the moment you put the ball back in play instead of going to post, you're risking, you know, another intercept. So he obviously listened to you there, Matt, and went to post eventually.
Well, he should listen to me. I did coach him a number of years ago, Australian 23 and unders, so maybe my voice was in his head. Adam Franz now on into centre, which is good to see. Keeping the legs ticking over coach Jared Murphy. There's a reason he's been involved at high level elsewhere before, and obviously a smart player in his own day. New South Wales, couple in a row. Victoria will want to score, needs someone to come to it. Just losing vision for a moment there.
Beautiful drive from Richardson. I thought since he's gone into wing attack, as opposed to the centre game, we've seen a really clean line onto the top of the circle. Obviously, the umpire seeing that the way of New South Wales. So 8-goal margin with 5 to go. Is it assailable, Matt?
Oh, if Victoria don't sort out this attack line after the last couple of plays, then New South Wales are well and truly back in this. But if Victoria can clean this up a little bit, it's going to be a tough effort. So we see Punchin and Gurmich on each other now. Gurmich, one of the young up-and-comers, started going through the Australian program himself.
I think this is what you'd want from Gaha. You asked earlier, you'd be wanting to see what are these young two shooters produce that is different to the others. She'll obviously be planning to play Vic in the grand final if they can make it through the next. And assuming they lose this one.
And if it's not working for you, you need something that's going to be able to step on. And Gurmich having some confidence again. After earlier he was not playing with confidence. This for 4 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. New South Wales, they're starting to get up and about. Victoria must score off their centre pass here. Richardson just floating a long way home. Long ball, Hardwick balances. I thought he missed that.
Take. It was effortless, a bit laconic.
He almost pirouetted on that spot, like it was one of those wind-up ballerina boxes.
And that was a critical play, Matt. You mentioned they had to score that one to take some pressure off themselves.
Momentum is really all New South Wales way at the moment in terms of execution.
It's been one of those matches where I think the game was broken open by one major run by Victoria, but the rest of the match has been full of little runs.
And little runs are what build you leads. Unfortunate for New South Wales that the massive run went against them, but ultimately they've been playing catch-up since then. And you recognise that that's not going to happen in another game. The lovely feed in there from Adam Franz to Cameron Allum. He just knew where that backspace was. 36-29, Jack Vanderveld in centre.
You still see this scoreboard, Matt, and it could be in any other match of this tournament. Could be a half-time scoreboard.
Could be a half-time score, could be a three-quarter time score.
Just they're the positives you take out of it from either side. Like defensively, you've executed your game plan for both sides. I think even the high standards of Gerard Murphy, assuming, again, he wins this match, he'll be looking to improve how much they can put on the scoreboard, because in a grand final, this may not be enough.
And given that you'd expect both sides to improve their attack and some of those feeds, I don't know that this would be enough. I don't think you're going to get a third quarter 9-goal run again. Certainly, grand finals are always different games, as cliche as it is. You can't expect this result to have any reflection on what might happen should these two face each other again and just going out of court.
I think you mentioned at the start of the call as well, Victoria certainly have more depth to go to the bench on in terms of players that you would expect to be able to, perform as they have today. And I think in this game that showed again, rotations they've done have not really changed for the worse any part of their ability to score. And I think at times New South Wales changes have sent them back a little.
They have certainly sent them back a little bit. Also, I don't mind the fact that Moragaha's put out this brand new defensive line. Callum Price, we've seen him out there before. Not many minutes this game. Cameron Allen, a long way from home, getting their hands at the transverse line. Give it to Tom Hardwick, yes. Contact though, Blundell. Tom Hardwick should step this up, no. And the little just forehand and flat palm grab by Allen.
It's the body contortion on his take. He flays his legs, and I don't think I've seen a shooter quite like him who can take a ball so balanced on the ground when his limbs are spread across the circle.
Yeah, more often than not when you see a player similar to that, it is uncoordinated versus him being unconventional. And this is what helps get him the ball so much of the time is he's fast. He's got a mean jump on him that people do not expect. Another 2 in a row there for the VICs. Long little connection for Kadia and
Our punching.
Oh, a little tap back Van and that's where Hedricks just needs to get on with it, not wait for a call, because had he straight on it, there wouldn't have even needed to be that call in his favour.
A bit of tired bodies now. I think the result's done. Our punching certainly given Jared Murphy a lot to think about with who the hell he puts on court in that circle in the grand final, but what a great problem to have.
And I love when you've got 3 superb defenders like that you can just rotate through without a question of what's going on. Heath, what a match, what a qualifying final that was. If you're going into this afternoon's game as New South Wales coach, what are your messages?
Yeah, I think you've got to get back to having confidence to go to the post. I think they played their best netball when they let the ball go on early release. When they hit circle, I think the Vics got on top of them when they held on to that ball for too long. And so I think Coach Gaha and the boys will really look at what they can do to get ball speed back in their game.
And we're going to allow ourselves some ball speed and speed out of here quite shortly. That was Victoria 39, New South Wales 30. It has been qualifying final in men's open division. Up next, though, we've got reserve mixed at 1:30. 4 o'clock, we see the return of 23s, 20s and 17s. And of course, the open men's return later this evening as well. 7 p.m, expect this New South Wales side to be recovered and ready to go. I've been Matt Blomley, alongside me Heath Brown.
Thank you, Matt.
Good afternoon.